Alright YouTube, today we're going to work on this, what is this? A Homelite Bandit. Story behind this saw, hopefully it's not stolen, but there's no way of telling really. My father actually got this from somebody, came up to him and said, hey, I'm really hard up on money, I'll sell it to you for 25 bucks. My dad really didn't need the saw, but he went ahead and took it. Now the thing is with this thing, you can see it, this handle is completely broken. I don't know if they dropped it out of a tree or what they did, but anyway, this thing's out of production. Can't really find parts for it anymore. So as far as the handle goes, we're pretty much up a creek unless we want to repair it. So that's what we're going to do. So let me show you what I got and what we're going to use to fix it. Alright, so all you need is some torque. Either torque bits, which is actually what I got on here to make it a little faster, or some of the L-shaped tools, normally like an Allen wrench. We need a T25, so I've got that on here. That's what I'm going to use because it'll make it a little faster. We need a flathead screwdriver so we can undo the tension on here, and we need a 5/8 socket or wrench, but a socket is really what you need to fit on here. So we can take the bar off of there because we have to gain access, or at least take this cover off so we can gain access to where this actually bolts on. So I'm kind of on the other side so you can actually see me. We'll go ahead and use the 5/8 socket. Go ahead and loosen these. I've already kind of loosened them. You want to use a flathead screwdriver so we can get up here to the tensioner. Oh, this one's actually on the other side. That shows how old it is. Normally they're on the cover. So go ahead and loosen up some of the tension for that bar, and then go ahead and take this the rest of the way off. Just go ahead and take this bar completely off because we don't need it at the moment. Get the chain out of the way and keep us from hurting ourselves. Granted, I should have probably been wearing some gloves for that, but I know that thing's not sharp and I'm taking my chances. So we see right here, this thing is completely broken free. So we need to take off this, it's got 2 torque screws. And this thing seems kind of dead, so where do we lock it? Get these things started. And now we'll unlock it so we can go the rest of the way if it's going to. Yeah, that thing could probably stand to be charged a little bit. So we can pull that side off. I'm going to just put the screws with it just in case they're different for the other side. The other side actually screws on down here at the bottom. So we got 2 Torx bits here also, Torx screws. Again, it's T25. Yeah, that thing can really stand to be charged. So this thing, you can already tell, is a poor design anyway. I mean, look at this. This is one of the most rigid places, or places it needs to be the most rigid, and yet you see that they got the honeycomb in there. Meaning they wanted to save some for this plastic through here, where they could have just made it solid and it might have helped out. Same goes for this. See here, it's the same honeycomb pattern. A lot of missing space there. So yeah, it definitely could have been better. Most of the time though, that's on there kind of for some of the vibration. But since it's broken at the moment, we're going to not even pay attention to that. We're just going to make it solid again. So, or at least attempt it. So let's get this off of here. And now, as you can see, not being held on there at all, just got to figure out a way to maneuver this off of here. It's going to be real fun whenever we have to put it back on because, well, it went on there somehow, so we'll make it go on there. But here's what we're left with. So we got to figure out a way to basically mimic this get these connected again, and make sure that it's nice and strong. So let's see how we can do it. Alright, so epoxy's not going to stick to anything if it's dirty, and this thing is, well, obviously been used. So take an old toothbrush that we didn't use anymore. I use it now for cleaning things. Use a little bit of soapy water, and we'll go ahead and scrub this thing down. Actually, I'm going to go run this under some warm water to rinse it off good. Alright, so you can't really see this very well, but this is the piece that was actually on the bottom. We need to strengthen that up. So put this in place just to see where it sits. Look and see, we got a bolt here, and this whole part right here is open. Well, I could glue this back or epoxy this back right here in this one spot, but that's going to be the weak spot. So the best thing I could say is probably to go ahead and try, so remove from here to here and maybe put some flat bar in there. And if I need to, I can hammer it out to shape. May also use some square stock. That might actually work better, but we got to remove that first just to be able to see, you know, where we stand. So go ahead and start doing that. Alright, for those who don't know, these Dremel tools, they are freaking awesome. I've had this one now for, I don't know, at least 15 years, and I love it. I've used it so many times I can't even count. So, but one of the things I don't like about it is that they never give you enough places for all the bits and everything. So I found me a piece of 2x4 and actually lined them up on there, just drilled out each hole, put everything in place. Works great. So I'm going to use just I'll probably use one of these. Should probably have gloves on. Definitely have your safety glasses on though. Alright, not sure if you can see that or not, but what I did is actually just lowered that down to about the, well, just under where the bolts actually rested at before. So I shaved all that off. Hopefully we could put some flat bar down in there. May have to grind it down to shape it some. That way it fits in there neatly. If not, I'll grind a little bit more of this out. But now I need to work on the handle, the actual handle portion, and do the same thing with it. That looks like it'll work. So now we got to find some metal to put in there. Let's see what I got. As you can see, I got a little small piece of square stock or somewhat square stock. I just cleaned it up. You hit some paint on there. I got that paint off of there. So now we actually have to see how it works here. It's a little short. As you can see, it's a little bit short, but that's fine because I want it to have some room for the epoxy to kind of go around the metal. I'll probably make it travel as far as it can towards this end because I got to drill through there. So I'm going to wait though and drill through that after I actually get this thing epoxied up. So I've gone through and cleaned out all the excess crap that got on here whenever I widen this out. I left a lot of the, if you can see it, the honeycomb down low. I'm actually going to fill that up with epoxy, so it's got a good layer of epoxy. You can't really see it here, but the metal actually doesn't come all the way to the top of this, which is good because then I can have epoxy go over the top of that. So it'll basically be metal encased in epoxy. And Do I know if it's going to work? No, but we're going to try it, see what happens. So now what I need to do is actually put some tape around the edges here where this part's chipped out. That way, whenever I do fill this with epoxy, it will be able to fill that gap where that piece is missing. And then we'll basically just have to sit and wait. I put a clamp on here to keep this all clamped up so it stays in place. Alright, so as you can see, I've got this thing all put together, clamped up. You can see down in the holes, I actually went ahead and put some filler putty, drywall putty in the holes. Hopefully that will keep the epoxy from going down through there. Although I kind of did want it to go through the cracks in this one because it cracked right down through right where that hole is. So I'd like for it to go down there. I put some tape along the sides, keep it off my my clamp. I also went and put a piece of tape across the back where that crack is here. So you can see that where the crack is here. So if it does leak down through there, that hopefully I get it to go in the crack. That'd be great. But that it doesn't leak through. So we got that part done. Now I just have to mix up my epoxy. I'm using JB Weld. I'm just going to mix it up. It says equal parts. We'll do that. Enough that will fill all these little holes through here. And then I'll put the metal down, and then I'll put more over the top of that and make sure that it squeezes down in and around it and everything else. So and then we'll just leave it sit till it's done. Alright, so I didn't realize it, but the camera cut out on me right before I actually poured this, but well, spread it out really. I really wanted to use some regular epoxy, but my stuff was kind of old, so I used this JB Weld that I got. It's epoxy as well, but it's a little different. It doesn't actually pour in there. You actually have to kind of spread it in there. So I mixed up enough, tried to press it all down through all the holes and everything. It's, as you can see, firmly around the metal that was in there, but we got a lot protruding up above the top. So this is set overnight. It's probably not cured completely, but now we need to kind of get all the excess off of there. So I'm going to see if I can't use a sander onto my Dremel here to take care of it. With all this dust flying around here, I'm going to go ahead and give me a mask. Alright, so now it's at least flush. I can see a few little problems. One, I've got an air bubble that made its way into here. It's kind of hard to do whenever you don't have, whenever you can't actually pour it in there. So I didn't realize that was there. I could feel it, but it's right on the end. There wasn't really anything over there, and the brake was actually all the way over here, so I think it'll be okay. Also got the metal that's kind of protruding right here, which we're just going to have to deal with it. So now let's see about it. Also, because I couldn't just pour it in there, it also didn't make its way down into the crack right here. Probably not so much on the other side either, but I think with that metal bar in there, that should actually work pretty good. So let's try to get some of this this putty out of here. This stuff didn't even dry. Not in the center anyway. Well, it kept it out of the holes pretty well. So that's all I was trying to do with that. So in the meantime though, we need to start working on this other side. Break out my Dremel again, and we'll carve this out. Make room for a bar through here. All right, so I've ground all this out. Actually, taken me another bar, cleaned it up and everything. and got it shaped to the way I need it to go in here. I did go ahead and carve out a little notch right here because this hole was not sitting center on here, so there's no way I was going to be able to take a drill and drill out on the side of this without it just moving off to the side. So I went ahead and got that out of there. Hopefully we'll be able to drill through this part, no problem. But this part's just going to sit in here. We've got it all clamped together, got it taped on the side so we can keep the keep this epoxy or JB Weld from leaking out. But I want it to be in that crack. But I'm going to try to fill this whole void right here. I've already filled the holes with some what is this? Some putty compound, some drywall compound. It seemed to work on the last one, so I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And we'll go ahead and mix this. I've got my equal parts epoxy here. I'll go ahead and mix it together and go ahead and fill this up. So just keep mixing until we get a nice consistent gray without any white or black streaks in it. But we can't do it for too long because we obviously have to use it before it starts to set any. Fill these holes that are down in here. And now to go ahead and put my bar down. But since I can't find a handle anywhere else, it's either I make one or I repair this one. It's easier to go ahead and repair this one. Alright, so this is all cured. It's actually been sitting for a day or two. As you can see, I kind of had a little bit of a blowout there at the holes. I put in that putty to keep this from going through, but I guess whenever I pressed that bar in there, it pushed it through. So we're going to have to trim off that excess that came through before we can drill our holes. But we can see right here, it's all hardened. It is protruding a little bit higher than the surface, if you can see that. So we're going to go ahead and use the Dremel and go ahead and grind all that flush, and then we got to drill out these holes. Alright, started out, I just cleaned all this out, broke off the part that squeezed through there. Put me a center punch in this, and we're going to go ahead and drill a small hole and then work our way up to a larger one. Now we just need a larger hole. Alright, I really didn't think that this side would be the problem. The other side seems like it's doing alright. The screw's kind of biting in like it should, but this one here, we've got actually these plastic bits here that the screws bite into, they actually protrude out quite a ways. So I need to actually probably drill into the other side of it, of my handle anyway, to make it to where these things can recess down into there. About 1/4 of an inch. So I need to drill down into the handle 1/4 of an inch, the size of these. Alright, my two problems. One, don't have a drill bit big enough, so I'm actually having to widen out this hole here. But two, my second problem is that this side over here, the metal is right at the halfway point. So you can't use a drill for that because it tries to walk its way over to the softer plastic or epoxy, however you want to call it. So my next thing is using a grinding stone here with the Dremel tool to get this to the depth and wideness that I need. So, and it's I measure it, it's about 12 millimeters roughly, These are pretty close right now. Trying to make sure I don't grind all the way down through the metal, because I would like to have the metal there in between it to give me some extra strength. So I'm going as far as I can without going completely through it. So keep going. Alright, YouTube, it's all bolted back together. You can see right here, it's fixed, it's holding great. I mean, I'm just holding it by the handle itself, and we don't have an issue. Bolted fine on the bottom, bolted fine right here. It's actually, I mean, this is probably stronger than it was right out of the factory, so I'm happy with it. I think it'll work fine for this being a cheap saw, and I can't get the handle for it anymore. Then I mean, you can't go wrong with going ahead and fixing it. It does run, so I can use it again. Granted, it's nowhere close to the size of my other saws, except for of course my my tree saw, but that one right there is supposed to be small. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely like and subscribe. Hit that little bell thing too, or whatever the heck YouTube has us doing anymore, and that way we can get notifications on when I post something new. So I hope this has helped you. If you decide to tackle a project like this, then let me know. If it fails, it doesn't work right for you, let me know that too. Or at the same time, if this ever fails me, I will let you know that as well. That way you can know not to spend the time and effort to go through this, because it took about 3 days or so to fix this. 2 of those days were just waiting on each of those places there where we put the JB Weld, and you know, it says 4 hours for the setting, and then another 24 hours or 24 hours total for curing, so it'll be a workable state. So you know, that's a lot of wait time. So the rest of it was just, you know, me piddling around with it. So it had to shape everything up, work around, you know, the shape of the saw and everything else, but it works. It's strong, you know. Like I said, probably a lot stronger than it ever was. So if y'all guys got any questions, send them my way. Like and subscribe, hit that bell. If they got anything else for us to hit anymore, hit that too. Maybe then I can actually get some viewers on these channels. So y'all take care. I'll see you later.